My name is Rachel Worsham, and I'm a post-secondary access advisor with the Emily K Center. Thank you so much for coming to our first virtual info session. We are recording this, so please do not unmute your mic or show your video. We're going to have some time for questions at the end, so if you just hover over the bottom of your screen, there should be a little chat icon. At the end, if you want to just ask your questions in that chat icon, we can answer anything that you have to ask. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm here with Carla Salas, who is a admissions counselor. That's not right.
I'm an assistant director with the Office of Undergraduate Admissions at UNC Chapel Hill. Excited to be here for the first virtual session offered through Game Plan College and to answer all of your questions.
So can you tell us a little bit about UNC?
Yeah, so UNC, nation's first public university, we have about 19,000 undergraduate students, kind of made up from people from all over the world and representing large part of the state of North Carolina. We're a mid-sized research one institution focused on the arts and sciences, is where the majority of our majors fall. So when you apply into Carolina, you aren't applying into a specific major. We also don't read applications based off of major. You're applying and are admitted into our College of Arts and Sciences and then go from there. So there's plenty of opportunities for students to kind of engage and broaden their perspectives and their ideas and find what it is that they want to do and then make connections that'll last them beyond just Carolina.
Awesome. And just to note, we are both UNC grads, so if you have questions about the undergraduate experience, we might be able to answer this for you too.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about why your school is a good option for students from Durham and North Carolina?
Yeah, so I think part of that goes into this idea of being founded as a public institution, being the oldest public institution in the United States. We're still very much driven into that mission of being a public-facing good, not only for the people of North Carolina, but the country and the world as a whole. Being such in close proximity to Durham, North Carolina, kind of allows students the opportunity to go visit, to take advantage of the opportunities that are available essentially in your backyard. So it's pretty cool and pretty unique to say that you have this long-standing institution that is driven on its mission to provide the best opportunities for the people of North Carolina, just 30 to 40 minutes away.
Awesome. So we all know that when we're making college decisions, a lot of us are seeing dollar signs. What percentage of financial aid is UNC able to meet?
Yeah, so we do strive to meet 100% of demonstrated financial need, and that's based on the information that's provided on both the free application for federal student aid, so the FAFSA, and the CSS profile. So you do have to fill out both of those forms to be considered for financial aid, but we do strive to meet 100% of demonstrated need. The majority of our scholarships don't require separate application, so simply by applying into admission into Carolina, you're considered for a lot of our merit scholarships, but the majority of our scholarships also have that need-based component attached to it. And again, that's back to the foundation and our mission of being a public university.
Awesome. So can you first tell us what your major was at Carolina and what you liked and didn't like about it, if anything? And then can you let us know what the most popular or unique majors UNC has?
Yeah, so my major was English. What I liked about it was the flexibility of it. So English, you don't have to take the classes in a sequence, essentially. So you do have to take all of the classes, but after you get past 105, you can essentially take them in any order that you want or that is available to you. So I liked that because it was less pressure when it came time to register for classes. If a class that I needed filled up or if a class that I wanted filled up, I knew that I could take something else and then come back to it later. There was less of that pressure to finish up in such a short period of time because Carolina does try to get students in and out in 4 years. So we do have a very strict policy to get students to graduate in 4 years, and there's a number of reasons that go into that. But I like that flexibility that English provided me, and that once I got into the electives of it, I got to take more English classes that were of interest to me. What I didn't like so much about it was that some of the earlier classes that you have to take do kind of continue to that foundation of English in the United States. So it's very old school poetry type of things, which are important to read, but not my favorites. So having to take that was not the greatest start, but once I got past that and once I got more into the electives of English, I could customize the major to my liking, then I like that at the end. Some of our most popular majors, so our top 5 are psychology, biology, chemistry, business, and journalism. So those are our top 5 most popular majors. Business and journalism are 2 of the majors that do require an application. So I mentioned earlier that the majority of our majors don't. Those are 2 of the ones that fall into our professional schools. So students can apply into them beginning in their sophomore year if they want to go into either of those professions. But those are our top 5 most popular ones. I would say one of our more unique ones is biomedical engineering, which is a fairly new major that's in partnership with North Carolina State University. So the way we describe it is it combines biology, medicine, and engineering to kind of create these new innovative ideas. So the way I've explained it to students, if they're considering biomedical engineering, but they don't know whether to apply to us or to NC State, is if you're interested in the biomedicine side of things, Carolina is going to be it's going to want to be the school that you apply to, because we have the hospital on campus, because biology is one of our more popular majors. But if you're interested in more of the engineering side of things, then NC State's going to want to be the school that you apply to. But you do have the ability to take classes at both schools and have the resources available at both schools, where you get to combine a world-class kind of education at 2 of the top institutions in the state.
Awesome. Cool. So as a student, what was your favorite part, or maybe if you can't pick one, your top 3 favorite things about UNC?
So I would say the top one that kind of encompasses all of them is just the community that you find at Carolina. So I went to UNC as an out-of-state student. So I didn't know anybody when I first started there, but I very quickly found my community. I very quickly found my family, made it a home away from home, so much that I prolonged my stay and continued to prolong my stay in North Carolina until I eventually found myself now working for the admissions office, where I get to tell more people about some of the great opportunities that Carolina has to offer. So I think the community and the people that you find at Carolina that are driven in what they're doing, but they're also willing to help you out and to kind of build this environment that fosters collaboration over competition. I think that was something that I really liked about it, and something that obviously attracted me enough to stay beyond just my undergraduate career. So I would think that would be one of my favorite parts. Another one of them, I think, is sports. So I'm very interested in following athletics, and, UNC, they is jokingly called the University of National Champions. Because all of our athletic teams are very good. So having the opportunity to witness some kind of world-class athletics for free, essentially, because you could get to go to all of these games as a student, I think was another thing that I really enjoyed. But just the opportunities that are available to students at Carolina, I think as a whole, no matter what you're interested in, you're able to find kind of your niche and your community in there.
Awesome. See, so we are all stuck at home. If you're wondering, Carla and I are roommates, and we did not break social distancing. So if I were stuck at home and I wanted to know a little bit more about Carolina, are there any virtual tours or any programs that you have for students who want to learn more that can't come to campus?
Yeah, so we actually just launched our first virtual information session this past Wednesday. So we're offering virtual tours and virtual information sessions once a week for the foreseeable future, but that may be something that we incorporate even more, or pre-record, or have available beyond kind of what is happening right now. But yeah, so if you go to our page, and we can put it in the chat, admissions.unc.edu, and then to the visit section, you'll be able to see how you can sign up for a virtual tour. So we're offering them Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. and then Tuesday, Thursdays at 4 p.m. They last about 30 to 40 minutes, and it's made up of a professional staff member. So I may be in one of them, but any one of our other assistant directors or senior assistant directors may be leading it. and then 2 current Carolina students. So you get an opportunity to learn more about Carolina, something similar to this, but it'll just be more in depth, but also talk to current students about their experiences. And then after that, there's also a link that'll take you to our virtual tour. So we do have a virtual tour that's available that's recorded by one of our student ambassadors. So it's a great way to kind of engage with the campus so that you can learn more about it, visit it virtually, and then hopefully when things clear up, if you have the opportunity to visit in person, I would also highly recommend that.
Awesome. So let's say that I have taken that virtual tour and I've fallen in love with UNC and I want to apply. Can you just give me maybe a broad overview of your application and your application process?
Yeah, so we take both the Common App and the Coalition application. We don't have a preference for either. Both applications will open up in August, typically August 1st, and then we have a couple of deadlines. We have early action and then regular decision. Our early action deadline is mid-October, and then regular decision is mid-January. Neither application is binding, so whether you apply early or whether you apply regular decision, you have until May 1st to kind of make your choice once you have kind of the full scope of all of your college options and choices to make a best informed decision. So those are deadline-wise and timeline-wise. We don't have a preference for either deadline, and we don't read applications differently from one deadline to the next. Most of our students are applying early, so that is where most of our acceptances come from, but that's just because that's where the majority of our students are applying. So about 2/3 of our students apply early versus 1/3 that apply regular decision. And then we look at the applications holistically. So we take an approach, it's a holistic approach, which means that we're looking at your application as a whole. There's no formula for admission. There's no set requirements. Nothing gets filtered out before it gets read by a real human being. And it is a real human being that's sitting down and putting in the time to read all of this, to learn as much about our applicants as possible. We're looking at your essays, your extracurricular activities, letters of recommendation, your transcripts, what classes you're taking, how well you're doing in them. So most of our students are taking rigorous courses, whether that's AP, IB, dual enrollment, or whatever it is that's offered at your school. And then testing is the last component that we're looking at. We're still currently requiring either the ACT or the SAT. We don't require the writing portion of it, and we also super score. So if you've taken the test multiple times, we'll look at each individual section and take the highest score from each individual section to give you an overall high score. But there is no general cutoff or formula or anything like that that goes into it.
So you said there's no cutoff. Do you happen to know off the top of your head the median GPA, SAT, ACT score of the most recent incoming class?
Yeah, so for our, not this 2020, but 2019 incoming class, we haven't finished running the numbers for 2020. But for the 2019 incoming class, the middle 50% for the ACT was a 29 to a 33. And then for the SAT was a 1,300 to a 1,500. For the GPA, I actually don't know it off the top of my head because we don't really track the GPA all that well because on the transcript, what we're more focused on is the rigor of the courses that students are taking and then how well they've done in them. So we found that can tell us so much more than a number at the bottom of a transcript because different schools weigh AP, IB, the honors classes differently, and that can sometimes skew a GPA. So rather than trying to recalculate it all into the same system, which could take up a considerable amount of time, we choose to not focus on it so much and just learn more from what's actually listed on your transcript.
Okay. So sounds like moral of the story is don't worry too much about your GPA, just try to take rigorous courses and do well.
Yes, and then also all the other parts of the application.
Yes. So speaking of the other parts of the application, you said that you read them holistically. So are there any qualities that you're looking for in applicants or anything you look for in particular?
Yeah, so I think just some of the components that I mentioned. So the essays, so we do truly read the essays. So we have one long essay and then 2 short essays that are Carolina specific. And what we're looking for in the essays is just a student's authentic voice. So a tip we like to give is, let's say, and if you've ever been to an info session, you've probably heard this before. Let's say you write your essay, print it out, and then accidentally drop it in the hallway of your school. If someone were to pick it up, would they be able to tell you wrote it? Does it sound like something you'd say? Is it about a topic your best friend knows you're particularly passionate about? If the answer to that question is yes, then that's a good essay to send in. If it's not, then you may want to work through it a little bit. Obviously, we are looking for a readable essay, so grammar and things like that. But more so, we're looking to get the student's authentic voice. So rather than focusing on over editing it and trying to get it into like this perfectly grammatically correct essay or traditional English essay that you may turn in, more so try to lend your voice and just write about something that you're interested in. I think the essays where you can tell the student is particularly interested in what they're writing and they can tell us more about them are the ones that stand out in my mind, versus the essays that read like a research paper, which may be great, but if it doesn't tell me anything about you as a student, then that's not going to make much of a difference. And it's not going to make you stand out in comparison to the other students who may have this similar educational kind of components in terms of what they're taking in their courses and test scores and things like that. So essays that stand out are just really truly lending into the student's authentic voice. Extracurricular activities are another thing that we're looking at. So we're not looking necessarily for a student that's checking off every single box or doing every single thing, but we're trying to build a diverse class. So we want students that are passionate, that are doing things outside of the classroom. So however it is that you're choosing to engage outside of the classroom, whether that's working or playing sports, taking care of relatives or younger siblings, or getting involved with your church community or just regular community in any way, shape, or form, we want to see how you're spending your time outside of the classroom in order to kind of build a diverse class based on diverse interests.
Awesome. Do you have any tips for filling out the application?
Outside of what I've mentioned, I can't think of any other tips. Spend time on it. Start it early. I think the Common App and the Coalition essays, you may be able to look them up now. If not, they should be opening up soon for the next application cycle. Even if you can't open them up now, last year's will be up. Those don't change too much from year to year. So as I said, we focus strongly on the essay. So the more time you spend on it, I think that the better your chances are of really crafting something that's unique. So start it early and take your time on it, especially if you're applying early. If you're applying early, by October 15th and you wait till the beginning of your senior year to start it, October 15th comes a lot quicker than you think. So really take the time, if you have the time now, to look through either of those applications, find a prompt that works for you, start on that prompt, and then get others to look over it, and then just continue to craft throughout the deadline.
Awesome. So Carla's talked for quite a while, so I'm going to start to take questions from you all. We had a question on our Instagram. So what support does UNC have for underrepresented students?
So we do offer a couple programs for students that are interested in applying to Carolina. So for rising sophomores, we have North Carolina Renaissance. And then for rising juniors, we have North Carolina Renaissance. And then for rising seniors, we have Project Uplift and then Uplift Plus, which is a continuing program through that. And all of those are summer programs that students can take part of. They get a chance to visit campus, interact with some current students, and then just get to learn more about the academics of Carolina, but also some of like the social aspects of being in college. I'm still in kind of a controlled setting. So that's offered through our Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Sadly, this year's programs will have to be virtual in light of everything that's going on, but hopefully continuing if everything gets cleared up, and next year, next couple of years, you'll be able to go back on campus and visit some of those. And then the Carolina Covenant program is another program it's a scholarship that's offered that covers 100% of aid available to students. So if I don't know the exact threshold, but if your family makes less than a certain percent under the poverty line, depending on how many people are in your household, and I don't know the exact numbers, but if you go to our scholarships and student aid website, you'll be able to see kind of what that falls into. But that's another resource that's available to students where you can graduate from Carolina without any loans, just depending on your financial circumstances. Those are some of the main ones that I can think of. There's plenty of clubs and organizations and departments on campus that are available to students to kind of take part of. We have a number of centers. So the Sonia Haynes Center for African American Culture, the Carolina Indian Center, the Carolina Latinx Center, the LGBTQ Center. So there are a number of opportunities and departments on campus for students to engage with once they're there.
Awesome, thank you. So our next question, is there a scholarship website or portal that students can use, or are scholarships only awarded after receiving their Common App? And I'm going to add on to that their CSS profile.
Yeah, so the majority of our scholarships don't require a separate application. So simply by applying to Carolina, whether you apply early or regular decision, you'll be considered for the majority of our scholarships. Need-based scholarships, you'll need to fill out both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. There are two scholarships, the Moorhead Kane and the Robertson. Those do require a separate application, but those are foundational scholarships that are run by separate foundations in partnership with Carolina. And you do have to apply early action if you want to also apply for either of those. So that's one thing to consider, but no, the majority of our scholarships, simply by applying into Carolina, you'll be considered for them.
Awesome, that makes it a lot easier. Okay, let's see. How much does it cost to attend UNC Chapel Hill, and what scholarships are available for students?
Yeah, so the total cost of attendance for in-state students is about just under $24,000, and that's tuition, room and board, fees, and then estimated additional expenses that may come up. That's for in-state. Out-of-state students is just over $52,000, and similar, that's total cost of attendance, and that's before any financial aid kicks in.
And if you, just a quick plug, if you tune into our financial aid webinar on Monday at 2 p.m., you'll get a better sense of what exactly goes into paying for college and different ways that you can fund yourself. Let's see. So what are the demographics of the student body and the last class that enrolled?
So I don't know those numbers off the top of my head, I'm sorry, but they are available on our admissions website, which was linked earlier. You'll be able to see our class profile, and it'll give you a full breakdown of demographics, not just based off of race, but also first generation status, so first in their family that have gone, where they're coming from, whether they're from in-state, out-of-state, rural North Carolina, urban North Carolina, and things like that. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at our admissions website and then looking for the class profile.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see. Do you have a preference of the SAT or the ACT?
We do not, no.
Okay, so maybe pick which one you like best and just take that until you're happy with your numbers.
Yes.
Score. Okay, so since this year's Project Uplift will be online, what will that look like?
So I'm not 100% sure. I do know some of the preliminary planning that's going into it. So I do know they're offering virtual academic sessions for students to engage with. It's kind of hard to recreate some of the social aspects of it that come to Carolina, but I do think you will still have the opportunity to connect with other Project Uplift students. I mean, I do know that's going to be free and open to anybody. So even if you didn't get a chance to register because it was full, or you didn't get the referral link, or for whatever reason, if you didn't register because you thought you couldn't spend 2 days at Carolina, I do know that it is now being opened up to anybody. I think the direct link is going to be sent out to students that have already been registered, but it'll be opened up to anyone else after that, and it will be free and available to students. So I think they're still trying to finalize what it's all going to look like, but it is going to be some mix of institutional work, academic work, and then some form of still being able to connect with current Carolina students, but also prospective students within the state.
Cool. So how do freshmen choose their dorm/residence hall, and are they assigned a residence hall?
Yeah, so after you apply into Carolina, if you're admitted, and then after you accept your enrollment and pay your deposit, you'll start getting emails and notifications from different departments on campus. Housing will be one of the first to reach out. I believe every year you have until May 15th to fill out your housing application. First years are required to live on campus. So you'll fill out your housing. There is no priority that's given to students. So let's say you send in your deposit February 1st, and then you fill out your housing application February 2nd. That doesn't mean, and you're the first person to do it, that doesn't mean you're going to be the first person that's going to get to select their housing. It's all done kind of on a randomized lottery base. That way that'll allow fairness for students kind of across the board. But you get to essentially rank the residence halls that you want to live in, and there'll be full descriptions in our housing website, but kind of a brief overview. We have hall style residence halls, which is 2 people to a room. You share a hallway that leads to a bathroom. It's usually located in the middle of it, and that bathroom has about 5 to 6 stalls, 5 to 6 showers, 5 to 6 sinks that you're sharing it all with a single gender hall. And then you have suite styles, very similar to that, except there's only 4 rooms per suite, 2 people per room. You share a bathroom at the end of a tiny hallway. Those are usually open that lead into a balcony, but you have the ability to close your suite door and then your individual room doors to kind of allow for privacy. And then Jack and Jill style, which is 2 rooms, a bathroom in the middle, 2 people per room, and then a bathroom in the middle of each room that you just share with 3 other people, depending on your roommates. So you do get to pick your housing option. They do try to give priority to students based on what they choose. But ultimately, if it doesn't work out, then you will be assigned into a dorm. You also get the ability to choose your roommate. If you know someone that you want to live with, you just have to have all of their information and then fill it out as you're filling out your housing application, and then they have to do the same with you. But you can also go random or do like a roommate match, which is kind of like a dating profile where you're listing your likes and dislikes based on how you're going to be able to live with someone, and then go from there.
Awesome. So let's see, can you repeat that SAT, ACT ranges?
Yeah, so it was a 29 to a 33 for the ACT, and then a 1300 to a 1500 for the SAT.
Okay.
And that's just the middle 50%. So 25% of our class admitted was above that highest one, and then 25% was below that lowest one. It's a pretty large range. So as you can see, we accept and deny students all across the spectrum.
So how would you describe the academic environment at UNC?
Yeah, so it is a fairly rigorous academic environment. It is challenging. A lot of students sometimes feel the shift going from maybe being some of the best students that they were at their high school. Maybe I know for me, I was at the top of my class in high school. I never really learned how to study because everything kind of just came easily in high school. And then I got to my first year and I realized that I needed to kind of rethink the entire kind of schooling mentality. So that shift, I think, was a little bit of a struggle. It is a little bit of a rigorous academic setting, but we do have resources available on campus for students to take advantage of. So whether that's the Learning Center, the Writing Center, tutoring, professors' office hours, or anything like that, there is opportunities available for students to find success academically, even if the shift is initially a little bit hard.
So how big of a deal is Greek life?
Yeah, I think about 18% of our students participate in Greek life, and that's across the different councils. So we have some of the larger councils, such as the Interfraternal Council, which is a traditional male fraternities, and then the Pan-Hellenic Council, to female sororities. Those are the ones that you'll see the big houses located just outside of campus. But then we also have the Greek Alliance Council, which encompasses a majority of the cultural organizations, and then the National Pan-Hellenic Council, which is a historically Black and African-American Greek life.
There are also academically linked Greek organizations. So there's, fraternities for students in business or pre-dental students, or there's an honor fraternity. So there are lots of options there if that's something you're interested in. Let's see. Can I bring a car on campus?
Not in your first year, no. So first years aren't allowed cars on campus unless there's some kind of extenuating circumstance, and then you have to apply for a waiver to have your car on campus. And then beyond that, priority is given based on number of credits or years in residence that you have. So seniors get priority over getting their car on campus and which lot they get to park in, and then juniors, and then sophomores, and then first years are unfortunately not allowed to have the cars on campus.
There is a really great public transportation system, not only on campus, so all the on-campus shuttles and buses are free, but there's also buses that go between Raleigh and Durham, Chapel Hill. So Chapel Hill is walkable, and there are buses if that's not an option for you. So I didn't have a car in college. Yeah. And I didn't have a problem.
Yeah. And Triangle Transit, that's the bus that goes between Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. That one, I believe a pass for it is free for students. You just have to apply for it. So you don't have to worry about paying for that.
So is there a freshman-oriented program or dorm that helps ease the transition to college?
Yeah, so orientation is required for first years. It's 2.5 days over the summer that you go to. Again, this summer, things are going to look a little bit different. So they're still reworking how orientation is going to look virtually. But traditionally, orientation, you're spending 2 days on campus. You're spending time with other students that are incoming first years, but also current students that are helping you navigate the campus. You'll learn more about how to sign up for classes. You'll have a small kind of group meeting with an academic advisor that's going to walk you through the academics, but also find out about more ways to get involved and participate in stuff on campus while also learning more about the environment. And then what was the second part of that question?
Is there a dorm?
Yes. So there are a number of first year specific dorms which are only available to first years. So you'll be living with only other first years that are all kind of looking for new ways to get involved, looking to make new friends. You'll have resident advisors that are dedicated to making sure to put on programs for you that'll get you out of your room and meeting new people and things like that.
UNC also has living learning communities that are based around a certain topic. Do you have an example of one?
Yeah, so one is La Casa, which was a Spanish living learning community. So if you knew Spanish or Spanish was your native language, or you took a lot of Spanish in high school and were hoping to continue kind of learning that, or if you didn't know anything about it at all, but you wanted to engage with a new language at Carolina, you can apply to live in La Casa. And then there was a certain time of the day, from my understanding of it, where you only spoke in Spanish.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Is there a competitive atmosphere on campus, or are students willing to help each other out?
Yeah, I would say students are definitely looking to help each other out. So there isn't much competitiveness. So I think what I referenced earlier is truly a community that fosters collaboration over competition. I never felt like any of my classmates were looking to push me down on their way to their success. Mostly as students that are looking out for each other, finding that they can work better together and achieve more together than they can individually. So I think that was one of the things that attracted me to Carolina, was when I was touring. That was something that I heard and liked about it. And then once I was actually there, I saw that it was actually true, that students really did care about each other.
Yeah, there's kind of a sense of this collective struggle that you're all trying to get through. Let's see. So these two questions are related. So do I have to know what I'm going to major in when I apply, and are undecided majors looked down upon in the application process?
Yeah, great questions. You don't have to know what you want to major in when you apply. So we don't accept based off of major, and it's not like we have to admit a certain number of majors in each kind of designation. Theoretically, we could admit 100% English majors. Odds are we're not going to do that because that doesn't make for a very diverse class. But theoretically, we could do that if that's what it looked like. But no, so the major that you put in on your application, the benefit of doing that is that if you are admitted, and then when you go to orientation, if you choose to enroll, you'll get paired up with other students that are interested in that major, so that you have kind of that collective academic advising session that's geared specifically towards that major. So that is one of the advantages of putting down your major or your general interest in your application as you're going through it. But that's just, we mostly don't really look at that all that much when we're reviewing the application, because it doesn't play a factor at all in our admissions process. Like I said, it's just a benefit after the fact. And you aren't looked down upon if you are undecided. I was actually undecided when I applied, and just the part of our curriculum and our College of Arts and Sciences fosters the idea that even if you know exactly what you want to do, or even if you have no idea, the curriculum is built so that you'll have the opportunity to go across your major and take advantage of different things, but also hit the ground running and move forward if that's what you want.
Awesome. Let's see. So what is a normal day like for you at UNC?
Oh man.
As a student?
Yeah.
I would say probably a student.
As a student, I think it depends largely on the student. So we have over 800 clubs and organizations. So I think depending on what the student is involved with, I don't think I can answer that, because I think it's going to be so very different depending on the student you ask, and it's probably going to change even from semester to semester. So it's going to be some combination of class, work, and outside activity, while also socializing with friends, and that's very general. But I think I can't give I can't give a typical day, because it's going to be so different for every student.
The nice thing is that if I am not a morning person. I know myself, and I could not get to class before noon. So the nice thing about college is that I scheduled all of my classes past noon, so I would actually go to them. So it really depends on who you are. So when you're scheduling, think about what's going to make you most successful. If you're not a morning person, it's going to be hard to go to those 8 a.m. classes. Let's see. So in what ways is UNC a better or less attractive choice for immigrant students than Duke or maybe other private schools?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as a public institution, and I referenced a lot our idea of being funding 100% of demonstrated need if you're able to fill out both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. If you're an immigrant or if you're undocumented, then you don't have the ability to fill out the FAFSA. So that isn't one of the ways where, if as a public school, we are tied to state funding, and we are limited in where we can put those resources and who we can give that money to. And the state tells us that we can't give that money towards undocumented students, unfortunately. So that is one of the things where a private school like Duke, who doesn't have to abide by the same guidelines as we are, because their money comes from private funding, then they do have the ability to kind of provide more financial assistance for undocumented students. So I will say that is one of the major differences. If you are undocumented, you would be considered an out-of-state resident. So not only would you be read as an out-of-state student, but you would also have to be responsible for the full cost of attendance of $52,000 without the ability to kind of apply for or receive any federal financial aid. So those are some of the key differences. With all that being said, we do still strive to work with our undocumented students. It's just a matter of reaching out to us and then trying to make those connections with our scholarships and student aid office. And then kind of building those relationships, but we are tied with what we're able to do.
Okay, can I have more than one major?
Yes, so you can do up to 2 majors and 1 minor, or 1 major and 2 minors.
Okay, should we fill out the FAFSA and CSS profile every year we're at UNC?
Yes, so you should fill it out every year. You should fill it out early. Both open up in October. The priority deadline is March 1st. The sooner you get it done, the earlier you have to, the less you have to worry about it. This year, I think for our incoming first year class that applied early action, we were able to give them an award package within the week of us releasing their decision. But that was for students that had filled it out before that March 1st deadline, right? So if you filled it out in October or November, December, as you were filling it out, as you were finalizing your early action or early decision applications, then you had the ability to get that information back out there. And then you do have to fill it out every year if you want to be continuously reconsidered for need-based aid.
Awesome. And again, if you're sitting on an award letter that you are unsure about, tune in Monday for a financial aid presentation at 2 p.m. Are there any other questions? I'm not seeing any pop up in the box, but we'll give you a second or two. Oh, so what role do community-based organizations play in supporting students' college applications?
That's a question for you.
Funny you may ask. I'm with the Game Plan College team at Emily K, and we can help you, determine what schools you want to apply to, come up with strategies for the SAT, ACT, fill out your applications, answer any questions you have, regardless of whether you're a junior or a senior or, you're still in your freshman year. Anything to do with college generally, we can help you with. So even if you think it's not really related, we can probably draw some connections there. So please feel free to reach out. Our website is gameplancollege.org. Okay, so we have some more questions. Can you explain early action as UNC Chapel Hill means it?
Yeah, so early action is truly just our early application, so it's non-binding. So it's due mid-October. It's been October 15th for the last several years. It'll probably remain October 15th. But yeah, so it's early action. You apply early. There are a number of Excel at Carolina opportunities, so assured admission into some of our professional schools. Those two foundational scholarships that I mentioned. So some of those opportunities are only available to students if they apply early, but it's one of the non-binding decisions. So if you apply early, you can still apply other places early action. And if you get accepted, you're not committed to Carolina. You still have until May 1st to make your decision, because we want you to have kind of the full scope of everything, not just from us, but from other schools that you may be applying to. So that's what we mean by early action. Another thing that sometimes students ask about with early action versus regular decision is if you're not admitted early action, you get deferred into regular decision. And that's something that we stopped doing actually a couple of years ago. So the decisions that you can get from either application deadline, you can either be admitted, waitlisted, or denied. So we no longer defer from one application to the other, just because we found that there wasn't much of a difference in how we were viewing students from one to the other. So there really was no point in deferring. So admit, waitlist, deny is what you can receive.
Okay. How can you decide between having a double major or a major and a minor?
Yeah, so I think that largely is going to depend on the student and what you're interested in. So a major is going to require more coursework and more academic hours. So if you're particularly interested in the major or the subject matter, you may want to do a double major, just knowing that it's going to require more hours of work. So it may require some additional summer school options, or it may require overloading a couple semesters. Whereas a minor, if you're interested in it, but you maybe don't want to commit the full hour course load that you need into it, or maybe it's just a general interest that you're interested in, but not something that you fully want to take on, then that's why students choose to major and minor versus double majoring.
So I'll just give an example for myself. I double majored in history and peace, war, and defense, and had a minor in public relations. So some of the majors at Carolina allow for overlaps. So with the history and the peace, war, and defense major, I could overlap 5 courses. So instead of taking 20 courses for each major, I ended up taking 15. So that cut down on some credits there. And then I was able to minor and also study abroad. So it really depends on your majors. If they're super different, like chemistry and English, you're probably not going to be able to do the overlap. But if they are related, that's an option that you'll have to just speak to your academic advisor about once you get to school. Yeah. Is UNC Chapel Hill connected with any local organizations to provide students with community service opportunities?
I'm not sure if I'm totally understanding that question.
I think so. UNC has an office for community public service.
Yes.
There are offices on campus that help connect students to community service opportunities. But that's something you can probably explore once you get to university.
Yes, and there's no one community-based organization or anything like that that UNC partners with. I think we're open to partnering with the community as a whole. I know students do a lot of work in the Chapel Hill Carborough school system, but they may even expand out to Durham and Raleigh and Wake County as a whole. But yeah, there are a number of different ways to get involved with the community, but there is no one go-to.
There is a program called I believe it's the Buckley Public Service Scholars, wherein you do a certain amount of volunteering, maybe take a course or two, and you get a stamp on your diploma.
You get a special graduation.
Yes. And then there's also something called APPLES, which is service learning. You take an APPLES course and you do service learning as a part of that.
Yeah.
So can we speak on study abroad opportunities?
Yeah, so about a third of our students study abroad. We have over 300 different programs in over 70 different countries, and we are continuously trying to provide kind of global perspectives for our students. So we have a study abroad center on campus that does a great job of partnering students with the right study abroad program for them, depending on what you want to do. The majority of our study abroad programs are for credit, which means that you're taking classes at another institution in another country and then bringing that credit back towards your graduation at Carolina. And those are usually prearranged. So if you go through the study abroad office, you don't have to do any additional research or anything like that. They'll already make sure that the classes that you're taking are going to transfer back. There are also internship-based study abroad opportunities that may be shorter, so you may not be taking a full semester of study abroad. You may be taking a summer or just a couple weeks or something along those lines. So there are different ways that you can format your study abroad experience based on what you want and what your needs are. But there are opportunities on campus and people whose job it is to partner you with the right study abroad opportunities.
The study abroad doesn't always have to be insanely expensive. So the program that I studied abroad on was called a one-to-one direct exchange. So even though I studied abroad in the Netherlands and was going to a university in the Netherlands, I was paying tuition at Carolina. So the only extra things I really paid for was my plane ticket. My housing was actually about the same, and then any other excursions that I wanted to go on. So it doesn't have to break the bank. You just have to plan carefully and make sure that your program is financially feasible.
But a lot of if you qualify for financial aid at Carolina, sometimes that can transfer over to your study abroad opportunity as well.
So what leads most students to choose UNC?
So I think what a lot of students are attracted to at UNC is a strong academic reputation, but then also the community feel to it, just the traditions that are available to students. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of different factors. I think academics is usually what leads students there, but I think what ends up having students decide on Carolina is the communities that they feel and just all of the things that they see that is available to them. So the resources available to them on campus and all of the different things that they're able to take advantage of. Some of our statistics aren't bad either. So we have a 94 6-year graduation rate, 94% 6-year graduation rate, and then 96% of our students are either employed in their field or enrolled in a graduate program of their choice after graduating from Carolina. So I think the opportunities are available to students, not just while they're students, but also beyond that, and just the connections that you're able to make, I think is some of the things that attract students.
So I'm going to do one last call for questions. All right, so that seems to be it. Thank you all so much for attending our virtual info session. If you look at our calendar at bit.ly/GPC virtual, you'll see all of our other information sessions. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to put a link in the chat box for you to fill out a survey. If you fill out our survey, you'll be entered into a raffle to get one $20 gift certificate, and who couldn't use money right now? So I'm going to put that in the chat box. It's bit.ly. Okay, it's already there. /GPC workshop.
Yes, these are recorded, and what I'll also do is add my UNC email in case any of you have any questions. Feel free to reach out, and I'd be more than happy to help.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you all so much, and we will see you at other info sessions.